got big news.
So tell me that.
About time.
Now, it's been a while since I've done any kind of Power Universe update. I think my last one was at the very beginning of the new year. We kicked things off with what we can expect from the Power Universe in 2025 and beyond, based on what we knew at the time. But since then, there's been a lot of news that's dropped, whether it be Raising Kanan Season 5 being the last season for Raising Kanan, Power Legacy news, and also the latest with Power Origins. I mean, 18 episodes for Season 1. Now that's something we've been wanting for a very long time from Power, because sometimes 10 episodes for Power really does feel kind of too short. But I did think with us being halfway through the year, it's the perfect time to talk about what's happened since my last update, and generally what's happening elsewhere with Power, because Joey Badass was also on a podcast discussing a few things with his character Unique, especially with his resurrection. So this breakdown is just here to keep everybody up to date, bring everybody back up to speed, because I do know during the Power off season, everyone does kind of tend to just switch off when it comes to the Power news, but that's why I'm here. I'm here to give you the facts, the findings, and officially confirmed information. And during this quiet period, especially with all this news, you can definitely sense there is going to be a shift coming with the Power universe. Definitely interesting and also exciting times ahead. So this video will be split into 4 chapters going forward. Power Legacy, Raising Kanan Season 5, which is where we're going to be talking about Joey Badass's comments on Unique. We're then going to transition on to Chapter 3, which will be Power Origins, and finally rounding off with some general talk around other Power spin-offs. But let's start with where we are with Power Legacy.
Never bet against me. Because I'm always win.
We getting paid.
I like the way you think.
Now we know Power Legacy has been pretty much confirmed, even before the end of Power Book 2 Ghost when they announced that they'd be wrapping up Ghost and Force, but Tommy's journey was far from over, which was way back in 2024. That's how far back the rumours and theories started in terms of them combining Tommy and Tariq together in one show. That was the theory that I was leaning most heavily towards because from a logical standpoint, it just made sense. Then we had Tariq getting the phone call right at the end of Season 4 in the after-end credit scene. This mysterious kind of phone call which I don't think was much of a mystery, even with that at the time. If we were kind of looking at this from a logical standpoint, the phone call that he had to have come from Tommy Egan. We could have easily sat down and ruled out characters based on relationships, motive, their current whereabouts and status. So characters like Brayden, Diana, Kane and Effie, we could all rule them out from making this phone call. And the announcement of Power Legacy, in my opinion, just points towards one person, and that's Tariq's Uncle Tommy. We're not going to go into the who, what, where and why. I think we've probably covered that enough over the past few months. With that one, we can only kind of speculate and come up with predictions and theories. When the time comes, when they get a little closer to the moment, or when there's BTS or hints and teases, we'll definitely kind of revisit Tariq crossing over to Chicago. But where are we at this moment in time for Power Legacy? Now for those who aren't on social media, Gary Lennon did post this on Instagram where he mentioned they're getting the writers room together for Power Legacy. So they're definitely getting things moving. They're in the writers room at this moment in time, probably mapping out and writing the first season, especially now that they're done with Go Season 4 and For Season 3. They probably have a clear idea of which city they're going to have Tommy and Tariq move to, but at this moment in time there's nothing concrete. I think that's the big question at this moment in time for us Power fans, which I'm sure they've definitely kind of thought about. Or if they haven't, that's definitely number 1 on the list. Where are Tommy and Tariq going to head to after Chicago? I personally think it is going to be California. There was a very big tease back in Power. There's also characters like Rodolfo out there. Jason Michich also had an operation running out in LA. Could they tie some other characters from OG Power like 2-Bit or some others? Who knows? But they're definitely in the writer's room at this moment in time. They're going to be finishing up writing Season 1, and we are going to have to be very patient to get the next bit of news. Once we saw Joseph Sikora being cast for another TV show, it should have given us the hint that it probably is going to be a while before they get filming for Season 1 of Legacy. However, once Force does come to an end, that's when I think they're probably going to get things moving. Early next year or at some point next year, they'll probably start filming to have Power Legacy ready by maybe the end of 2026, maybe in fall, or maybe early 2027. And I do say early 2027, because I do have what they did with Go Season 4 in the back of my mind. The way they split the last 10 episodes, I don't know whether they'll be thinking about stretching for Season 3 in a kind of a similar manner. Maybe having 5 episodes towards the end of this year, and the final episode's at the beginning of next year. I mean, I personally hope they don't, but because they did it with Ghost Season 4, it's just kind of something to bear in mind, especially because the only last 2 shows or seasons left in the Power universe at this moment in time is Force Season 3 and Raising Kanan Season 5. I mean, it really wouldn't surprise me if they kind of just stretched this last and final season. So that's the latest with Force Season 3 and Power Legacy. They are in the writer's room at this moment in time for Legacy Season 1. We also know Force Season 3 is coming this fall. We got the teaser a few weeks ago, but still no official premiere date. And depending on when they want to start and finish Force Season 3, we'll probably get the trailer around 1 month out. But let's move on to the latest with Raising Kanan Season 5. Now, with Season 5, before we get talking about the potential release date and when we could see the last and final season, where I'm sure all of us are dying to know the aftermath of this particular scene and everything else, I do think it's important we talk about how this story is Raising Kanan's story, not a young Ghost and Tommy show. Even though in some ways it will be connected to Power Origins, even though Raising Kanan will definitely act as a segue to the first season of Origins and the story of Ghost and Tommy, Raising Kanan is and always will be a Kanan and Rock story, the Thomas family story, what happens with Jukebox, Unique, Snaps, Pop, and all of the other characters. They need to close off all of these other storylines, and there are a couple of quotes from Sasha Penn. He spoke about how he always had 5 seasons in mind for this particular show, and also how he'll answer a lot of important questions that we have from Power. For example, why did Kanan kill Jukebox? Sasha Penn did mention they will definitively answer how Kanan could easily kill Jukebox in Power, and everything else regarding the Thomas family will also be resolved in this final season. And all of this is really important to the overall story that we saw in Power, but also what will follow in Power Origins. I'm sure they will close off the chapter of Raising Kanan in the right way for all of these characters, or maybe even leave some open. I mean, who knows whether some will actually cross over into Power Origins. We know Kanan's story will definitely continue, I'm sure Breeze will as well, but those two are really easy to predict. Whether we see any other characters crossing over and their stories continuing, we're just gonna have to wait and see. But with Sasha Penn, he doesn't need me or anybody else to remind him that he needs to close off all these storylines in Raising Kanan in the right manner, an ending that's fitting for the Thomas family and everybody else, before they move on to the next phase of the Power universe. We may get a few hints and teasers over the course of Season 5 of Raising Kanan, but I do think the bulk of Season 5 should and probably will be focusing on closing this very well written story. They've done such a great job over the last 4 seasons in terms of storytelling, writing, acting, and everything else. They'll definitely want to finish it in the right way, and I'm sure they will. But when can we realistically expect Season 5? Again, going back to Force Season 3, it all does kind of depend on what their plans are for the ending of Force. Are they going to split Force's final season into 2? So whatever they decide with Force, it's going to have a direct impact on when we see Raising Kanan Season 5. Either way, it definitely is going to be 2026, and if I were to give an early prediction, I'm probably going to say around March, but take that with a pinch of salt. Trying to predict what stars do with release dates, it's really an impossible task, but they've already given us a short teaser for Season 5. It's in the can, it's been filmed, it definitely is ready to go. It's going to come after Force Season 3, and I'm sure we'll get more news towards the end of 2025 or maybe early 2026, again, depending on how they plan to give us Force. Now, just before we move on to Power Origins, I do want to talk about some recent quotes from Joey Badass. He was on a podcast, I'm not sure which podcast or radio station this was. I saw it on Power Chronicles, who always do a great job on social media, and also the podcast Kibi runs on YouTube from time to time. Power Chronicles, The Coalition, Big Gold Belt Media, those are just to name a few. But Power Chronicles posted this on social media, and it's something Sasha Penn did confirm as accurate.
The day when I went in to get my head casted, because when they kill characters off of shows, like if they gonna do shit with their head, like you gotta literally get a head cast. They make like a fake version
like
of
ceramic?
your head. Yeah, like ceramic
or prosthetic
whatever.
or something.
Yeah, whatever, prosthetic and shit. When I walked into there, I was like, oh, I think I'm making a mistake. I called up Sasha Penn. I said, yo, is there any way that I could stay alive?
Unique's character was genuinely supposed to be killed off. Joey Badass walked onto set when they were creating his face mask, and that's when he started to have second thoughts. Sasha Penn always had it in his mind that he wanted to keep Unique's character alive. It was Joey Badass who actually wanted to go and explore other opportunities, but when he saw the mask, he thought to himself, I'm definitely making a mistake. He then made the call to Sasha Penn and said, "Can you bring me back? Is there any way you can kind of rewrite the story?" And that would have had a big impact on season 4. I think Sasha Penn would have had to reimagine and change a lot of what we saw in season 4. And the what if scenario that we've been running over the past few weeks, I do think this one would be quite actually fun to tap into, which I definitely will do over the next few weeks. What if they did keep Unique dead? How would have season 4 of Raising Kanan looked like? What would the storylines have looked like with the Thomases, Rock, the Italian Mafia, and so on? So I definitely will dive into that over the next few weeks because I do think it will be quite fun to just unpack and kind of discuss a alternate storyline had they kept Unique dead. Definitely keep your eyes peeled for that one. But with that being said, let's talk about Power Origins. Now, with Power Origins, we've already discussed the 18 episodes. We've spoken about some of the Easter eggs that we should be seeing in Origins throughout the series, and we've definitely gone through a lot of Easter eggs. I know from time to time some of the writers and showrunners do also watch my videos. I have spoken to some over the past few years, but my breakdowns don't need to remind Sasha Penn and his team of the Easter eggs that we had in Power. I'm sure they've rewatched Power countless of times and most likely picked up on things we haven't. But we've definitely spoken a lot about what we can expect from a storyline perspective and the whole 18 episodes for season 1. The next question I guess is, when will we see Power Origins? When can we realistically expect Power Origins season 1 to hit our TV screens? With this one, I do think we're definitely looking at 2027. They released the news not too long ago that they're in the process of casting. I'm sure they've got season 1 outlined and that's the next steps for Power Origins. Casting a young Ghost and Tommy, casting characters like Curtis St. Patrick, Ghost Mother, a young Kay Egan, maybe a young Angela Valdez, and everybody else, old characters that we heard of in Power and also new. That's where they are at this moment in time, which is casting. And then they can start working on production once they've got all the casting out the way, which will most likely be at some point in 2026. So with Power Origins, you're definitely looking at 2027 as a release. And with 18 episodes for season 1, I really would be shocked if it wasn't split into 2 parts. But over the next few months, over the next 6 months or so, definitely expect a few articles to come out in terms of casting news. And when they do release that information, normally they do release small descriptions to go with those particular characters. And that's when we can sit down and start talking about Power Origins a bit more with the details that they give. For example, let's just say Curtis St. Patrick. Those character descriptions will give us a better idea of what we can expect from these new characters that we've had back in Power but never seen. The same goes for new characters. And that's where we are with Power Origins. The next step is casting and then it's production in 2026 to then get ready to premiere in 2027. Now with the other spin-offs, this one's really difficult to kind of dive deep on because they've not really given us much to work with apart from telling us they're still working on a couple of new projects. In my opinion, I don't think they're in a rush to kind of get them announced. We know Power Legacy is on its way. We know Power Origins has also been ordered for 18 episodes for its first season. So I genuinely don't think they're in any rush at this moment in time to kind of announce anything new. But when we're least expecting it, when we're sitting down with our Honey Nut Cheerios or enjoying our pizza in the evening, they're probably going to drop a bombshell out of nowhere. This person is getting a spin-off, or there's a new show in a new city, or this show, for example, with Kane Tejada has officially been ordered by Starz. But until then, let's just look forward to the ending of Force, Raising Kanan Season 5, and hopefully some casting news for Origins. But that's the latest news for the entire world of Power, for where we are at this moment in time, and a roundup of the latest news and what we can expect going forward in 2025, 2026, and also 2027. As always, I do mention time and air dates is very difficult to predict, especially when it comes to Starz, but I do think that's generally what we can expect going forward. With that being said, drop all your thoughts down below in the comment section, and as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.